The massive alien vessel appeared without warning at the edge of the Sol system. It shimmered with strange lights that confused Earth's sensors. Space Command detected the unknown ship as it passed Jupiter's orbit, moving slowly toward Earth. Admiral Kim Dae-ho stood on the command deck of the TSS Prometheus, Earth's first and only Titan-class warship. Built over 20 years, the Prometheus represented humanity's greatest achievement in space technology. Its black hull stretched nearly 8 kilometers from end to end, housing weapons and defenses born from centuries of human conflict. "Sir, the alien vessel is maintaining its approach," reported Lieutenant Park Ji-soo, her eyes focused on the holographic display. "No hostile actions detected yet." Kim nodded silently. At 62, he had spent most of his life preparing for this moment. First contact with an alien civilization. Humanity had debated for generations what such a meeting might bring. Hope or destruction, peace or war. No one knew, so Earth had prepared for the worst. "Status of the fleet?" Kim asked, his voice calm despite the tension filling the bridge. "All ships in defensive formation," answered Commander Ba Min-ho from the tactical station. "Luna Base has activated planetary shields. Earth is as ready as we can make it." The Prometheus moved forward, its massive engines pushing the warship ahead of Earth's smaller vessels. Kim had simple orders. Protect Earth at all costs. "The alien ship is transmitting something," Park announced suddenly. "Multiple frequencies, unknown patterns. The AI is trying to decode it." Kim studied the alien vessel on the main screen. It was large, over 3 kilometers in length, but still less than half the size of the Prometheus. Its design was unlike anything human engineers had imagined, with curved sections that seemed to flow like water frozen in time. "It could be a greeting," suggested Chief Science Officer Choi Eun-ji. "Or a warning. We should respond." "Not yet," Kim replied. "Let's see what they do next." The alien ship slowed as it detected the Prometheus. For several tense minutes, both vessels remained still against the backdrop of space. "They're scanning us," they reported. Very detailed scans. The ship's AI, Atlas, projected a holographic model of the alien vessel in the center of the bridge. "Analysis suggests this is not primarily a warship," Atlas stated in its neutral voice. "Configuration indicates diplomatic or exploration functions." Kim considered this information. "They're probably just as surprised to see us as we are to see them." "Sir," Park called out, excitement in her voice, "Atlas has made progress with their transmissions. It appears to be language data. They're trying to establish communication." "Put it through," Kim ordered. Strange sounds filled the bridge, gradually shifting into something more structured. After several minutes, Atlas announced, "I have established basic translation protocols. The vessel identifies itself as belonging to the Galactic Concordat, a coalition of spacefaring species." A new transmission came through, now partially translated. "Unidentified vessel. This is Ambassador Lee of the Galactic Concordat. We come in peace seeking contact with your species." Kim exchanged glances with his officers before responding. "This is Admiral Kim Dae-ho of the Earth ship Prometheus. We acknowledge your peaceful intentions. However, approach no closer until we establish proper protocols." There was a pause before the reply came. "Understood, Admiral. We are surprised. Our records indicated your world had not yet achieved interstellar capabilities of this magnitude." "How much should we tell them?" whispered Choi. Kim considered carefully. Humanity had chosen isolation during its early space development, focusing inward rather than exploring outward. The trauma of past wars had made Earth cautious. "Ambassador Lee," Kim responded, "humanity has chosen a careful path to the stars. The Prometheus was built to protect Earth. Now it serves as our greeting to the galaxy." Another pause. "Admiral, our scans indicate your vessel possesses significant defensive capabilities. May we request a formal meeting?" Kim nodded to his officers. "We accept." A small delegation may board the Prometheus. We will prepare a suitable welcome." As preparations began for the historic meeting, Kim stood alone at the viewport, gazing at the alien ship. Humanity had built the Prometheus out of fear born from thousands of years of conflict. Now this weapon of last resort would be their first ambassador to the stars. "Ready diplomatic protocols," Kim ordered, straightening his uniform. "Let's show our visitors that despite our caution, humanity is ready to join the galaxy." The Prometheus's main docking bay had been transformed for the historic meeting. Earth flags stood alongside newly created banners representing united humanity. The massive space normally held fighter craft and supply vessels, but today it waited for the first aliens to set foot on a human ship. Admiral Kim stood with his senior staff and Ambassador Yoon Hye-jun, Earth's most experienced diplomat. Though no human had ever met an alien before, Yoon had spent decades in conflict resolution between Earth's nations. "Remember," Yoon said quietly, "we show strength but not aggression. Confidence but not arrogance." The alien shuttle approached slowly through the magnetic barrier that kept atmosphere inside the bay. It was small and elegant, with flowing lines that made it look like it was moving even when still. The shuttle settled gently on the deck, its engines humming down to silence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a door melted away rather than opened, revealing the silhouettes of several beings. Ambassador Lee was the first to emerge. He stood about the height of a human child, but had the proportions of an adult. His skin was pale blue with faint patterns that seemed to shift in the light. 4 eyes blinked independently as he surveyed the docking bay. Behind him came 4 other aliens of varying shapes and colors. "The ship is vast," Lee said through his translation device, his voice filled with wonder. "Much larger than our intelligence suggested your species could build." Yoon stepped forward with a formal bow. "Ambassador Lee, I am Ambassador Yoon Hye-jun of Earth. Welcome to the TSS Prometheus." Lee made a gesture with his 3-fingered hands that might have been his culture's equivalent of a bow. "We are honored. I present my delegation from the Galactic Concordat." As Lee introduced his companions, Admiral Kim studied them carefully. One was tall and insect-like, another resembled a mobile plant. The remaining 2 were more humanoid in shape, but with striking differences in proportion and features. "Please follow me," Yoon said. "We have prepared a meeting space where we can talk more comfortably." As they walked through the massive corridors of the Prometheus, Lee and his delegation kept stopping to stare at the scale of the ship. The insect-like delegate clicked something to Lee, who translated. "Delegate Cole wishes to know if all human ships are this size." "The Prometheus is unique," Admiral Kim answered honestly. "It is our first Titan-class vessel." "First." Lee's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "You plan to build more?" Kim nodded. 5 more are under construction." The aliens exchanged glances that needed no translation. Their surprise was clear. In the conference room, windows looked out into space where Earth's defense fleet was visible in formation. Earth itself was a distant blue jewel against the blackness. "We must admit our confusion," Lee said once they were seated. "Our survey indicated your species had only recently achieved spaceflight, yet you have constructed a vessel that rivals the largest ships in the Concordat." Yoon smiled diplomatically. "Humanity's path to the stars has been cautious. We focused inward before looking outward. What my colleague means," Admiral Kim added, "is that humanity learned from its mistakes. Our history is filled with conflict. When we reached space, we agreed not to bring our wars with us." The plant-like alien made a rustling sound, and Lee translated. "Delegate Sora asks if this is why you built a warship of such magnitude." "For peace." The irony wasn't lost on Kim. "We built the Prometheus as protection, yes, a deterrent against threats we could only imagine." Lee studied the humans carefully. "Yet you kept your presence hidden from the wider galaxy. The Concordat has been active in this sector for centuries, but never detected your advanced technology. Would you have preferred we announced ourselves by exploring beyond our system?" Yoon asked. It is unusual, Lee admitted. Most species expand outward as soon as they develop faster than light travel. You chose to develop your defenses first. Admiral Kim nodded toward the viewing window. Earth is our only home. We protect what we love. The meeting continued for hours as basic information was exchanged. The Concordat represented over 60 spacefaring species, united in cooperation and mutual defense. They explained their astonishment at finding such an advanced civilization that had remained undetected. As the first day of meetings concluded, Lee requested a tour of the Prometheus. Kim agreed, though certain sections would remain restricted. Walking through the ship's vast corridors, Lee asked the question Kim had been expecting. Your vessel's weapons systems, what are they capable of? Kim exchanged glances with Yoon before answering. The Prometheus was built to defend Earth against any threat, Ambassador Lee. Its capabilities match that purpose. Lee was silent for a moment. Admiral, my delegation came seeking new members for the Concordat. But I believe we may have found something more important. And what would that be? Yoon asked. Allies, Lee said simply. There are threats in this galaxy that even the Concordat fears. Perhaps humanity's cautious approach has prepared you for them better than you know. The Prometheus moved silently through space, its massive engines barely visible as faint blue light. Behind it followed the much smaller diplomatic vessel of the Galactic Concordat. They had traveled to the outer edges of the solar system, far from Earth and civilian stations. Here, among the cold, distant planets, Admiral Kim had reluctantly agreed to demonstrate some of the Titan-class warship's capabilities. Is this demonstration truly necessary? Ambassador Yoon asked as they stood on the bridge. His diplomatic instincts warned against revealing too much too soon. Admiral Kim nodded slowly. Ambassador Lee was direct about the threats they face. If we're considering an alliance, they need to know what we bring to it. The bridge crew worked efficiently at their stations. Lieutenant Park directed the ship toward a field of asteroids that had been set up as targets. Each massive rock had been moved into position over the past week, creating a controlled test range. Ambassador Lee and 2 members of his delegation stood on the observation deck, their 4 eyes wide as they watched the proceedings. The aliens had been quiet since boarding, clearly impressed by the ship's size and technology. We've prepared several demonstrations, Admiral Kim explained as he joined them. We'll begin with defensive systems, then move to long-range capabilities. Lee nodded. The Concordat appreciates this trust, Admiral. Few species are so open during first contact. Kim smiled slightly. This isn't openness, Ambassador. It's practicality. Commander Oh Sung-min, the weapons officer, spoke over the communication system. All systems ready, Admiral. Defensive shields at standby. Proceed with demonstration 1, Kim ordered. The nearest asteroid, roughly 2 kilometers wide, suddenly glowed red. Hidden devices planted days earlier activated, sending powerful energy beams toward the Prometheus. The beams struck the ship's outer hull, but instead of causing damage, they simply vanished. Quantum absorption shields, Kim explained. They don't just block energy. They capture and repurpose it. Lee made a sound of surprise. No deflection. No energy discharge. That would be wasteful, Kim replied. The demonstration continued. The Prometheus's point defense systems activated next, destroying hundreds of small drone targets released from the asteroids. The drones moved at incredible speeds, changing direction randomly, but the ship's automated systems tracked and eliminated each one with perfect accuracy. Impressive, Lee admitted, but defensive capabilities are expected for a vessel of this size. Kim nodded to Commander Oh. Proceed to demonstration 2. Target locked. Oh confirmed. Minimum power, standard configuration. Kim turned to the aliens. I suggest you adjust your vision filters. This may be bright. A faint hum built throughout the ship. On the forward section, barely visible energy gathered at a recessed port. Then, with little fanfare, a beam of concentrated light shot toward the largest asteroid in the field. The beam touched the surface of the rock, and the entire asteroid, nearly 5 kilometers across, simply came apart. Not in an explosion, but in a controlled systematic dissolution. Layer by layer, the massive rock separated into its component elements, creating a cloud of particles. Lee and his companion stepped back from the viewport involuntarily. "That was 10% power," Kim said quietly. "The Prometheus can adjust both yield and effect. We can vaporize, disintegrate, or simply disable targets." The alien ambassador was silent for a long moment. "Admiral, the weapon technology you just demonstrated is beyond what most Concordat species possess. How did humans develop this independently?" Kim's expression remained neutral. "The same way we've developed everything: necessity and fear." One of Lee's companions whispered something, and the ambassador nodded. "My science advisor says your technology doesn't follow typical development patterns. Most species follow predictable technological paths, but humans seem to have taken unusual directions." Before Kim could respond, Lieutenant Park's voice came urgently over the communication system. "Admiral, emergency transmission from Earth Command. Multiple unknown vessels have entered the system at high speed. They're approaching research station area in the asteroid belt." Kim turned immediately. "Full status report. 3 vessels, unknown configuration," Park replied. "Station area has gone to full alert. The vessels are not responding to communication attempts." Ambassador Lee stepped forward, his body language showing clear alarm. "Admiral, can your sensors display these vessels?" The main screen changed to show 3 angular ships moving with purpose through the asteroid belt. They were black with glowing red patterns across their hulls. Lee's voice became tight. "Those are Void Collective scout ships. They're dangerous raiders that strike without warning. If they're here—" Admiral Kim didn't wait for him to finish. "Lieutenant Park, set course for station area. Maximum speed. Commander O, bring all weapons systems to full readiness." He turned to the alien delegation. "It seems, Ambassador, that you'll witness a real demonstration sooner than expected." The Prometheus turned smoothly, its massive engines flaring to life with new intensity. As the Titan-class warship accelerated toward the distant threat, Lee looked at his companions with an expression that needed no translation. "This," he said quietly, "may change everything we thought we knew about humans." Research station area hung in space among the asteroid belt, its spinning rings and extended solar panels making it look like a delicate flower. But now that flower was under attack. 3 black ships with glowing red markings circled the station, firing periodic energy blasts that the station's shields barely absorbed. "Arrival in 3 minutes," Lieutenant Park announced on the Prometheus bridge. "Station area reports shield integrity at 28% and falling." Admiral Kim stood calmly at the command center, studying the tactical displays. The 3 attacking ships were small compared to the Prometheus, but their weapons were causing significant damage to the research station. "Those are definitely Void Collective vessels," Ambassador Lee confirmed, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly in what seemed to be anxiety. "Scout ships, but dangerous. They attack isolated outposts to gather technology and resources." "How do they typically respond to resistance?" Kim asked. "They retreat if challenged by superior force," Lee replied. "But they're known for their ruthlessness when cornered." Kim nodded and turned to Commander O. "Prepare targeting solutions for all 3 vessels. Priority is disabling their engines and weapons. I want them unable to fight or flee." "Understood, Admiral." O responded, her fingers moving across the tactical console. The Prometheus dropped out of its faster-than-light travel just outside the engagement zone. For a moment, the attacking ships continued their assault on the station, seemingly unaware of the massive warship that had appeared. "Open communications," Kim ordered. "All frequencies. Channel open," Park confirmed. "Attention, vessels attacking research station area. This is Admiral Kim Daho of the Earth Defense Forces. Cease your attack immediately and withdraw from this system." For several seconds, there was no response. Then the three ships suddenly broke their attack pattern, turning to face the new arrival. Ambassador Lee stepped back involuntarily. "They're scanning us," O reported. "And they're powering up additional weapon systems." Lee made a sound of disbelief. "They should be retreating. Your ship dwarfs theirs." "Perhaps they don't believe we're as capable as we look," Kim suggested. "A common mistake when facing an unknown opponent." The lead void ship fired first, a bright red energy beam that struck the forward section of the Prometheus. There was no explosion, no damage, not even a visible effect on the massive warship. "Shields holding at 100%, O reported calmly. "Their weapons aren't powerful enough to register on our defensive scale." Kim's expression hardened. "They've made their choice. Commander O, execute targeting plan." "Executing now," O confirmed. The Prometheus responded with surgical precision. From multiple points along its massive hull, focused energy beams shot out, each one striking a specific section of the enemy vessels. There were no massive explosions or dramatic effects, just precise, controlled application of overwhelming force. Within seconds, all three void ships hung motionless in space, their glowing patterns dimmed and their weapons silent. "Targets neutralized," O reported. "All three vessels have lost propulsion and weapons capabilities. Life support systems remain intact." Ambassador Lee and his delegation stared in shock. The void ships, raiders feared throughout their region of space, had been disabled so quickly and efficiently that it barely qualified as combat. Lee struggled to find words. "The Void Collective has raided dozens of Concordat outposts. Multiple defense vessels are typically required to drive them off, let alone capture them." Kim turned to the alien ambassador. "You mentioned they gather technology. Will they have valuable intelligence?" Lee's expression shifted to something akin to excitement. "Extremely valuable. They likely have data on Void Collective fleet movements, communication protocols, technical specifications." "Lieutenant Park, prepare boarding teams," Kim ordered. "Full security protocols. I want those ships secured and their data systems locked down." As the bridge crew carried out his orders, Kim noticed the alien delegation conferring quietly among themselves. "Something concerns you, Ambassador?" he asked. Lee approached slowly. "Admiral, what we just witnessed, it changes many things. The Void Collective has been expanding aggressively for decades. The Concordat has been struggling to contain them." He paused. "What your ship just accomplished in minutes would have taken a Concordat battle group hours, with likely casualties. Different development paths lead to different capabilities," Kim said simply. "The question now," Lee continued, "is what humanity intends to do with those capabilities." Kim looked at the disabled enemy ships on the view screen, then at the damaged research station beyond them. "The same thing we've always intended, Ambassador. Protect what's ours." He paused before adding, "and perhaps help protect others, if an alliance could be mutually beneficial." Lee made a gesture that might have been respect. "Admiral, when my superiors see the recording of this encounter, I believe the Galactic Concordat will be very interested in discussing such an alliance." On the view screen, the first shuttles from the Prometheus were approaching the disabled void ships. Whatever intelligence they contained might provide insights into a threat humanity hadn't known existed days earlier. "I believe," Kim said quietly, "that humanity has just officially joined the galactic community." The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Concordat buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from 63 spacefaring civilizations sat in curved rows, their attention fixed on the massive display dominating the front wall. The recorded footage from the Prometheus's encounter with the Void Collective played for the third time, showing the efficient precision with which the human vessel had neutralized the raiders. "Impossible," muttered a representative from the Lyrian Republic, their crystalline form shimmering with agitation. "A single ship cannot possess such capabilities." High Counselor Kang Jinho stood patiently in the center of the chamber, the first human to address the full Concordat. Behind him stood Admiral Kim and Ambassador Yoon. their expressions carefully neutral despite the tension filling the room. "The footage speaks for itself," Kang said when the recording ended. "The Prometheus defended our research station as it would defend any Earth facility. This is not a demonstration of aggression, but of protection." The head speaker of the council, a tall being with iridescent skin, leaned forward. "Counselor Kang, your species remained hidden from galactic society while developing military technology that exceeds our combined capabilities. You must understand our concern." Kang nodded respectfully. "We understand. But consider our perspective. Humanity spent thousands of years fighting itself. When we finally united and looked to the stars, we decided caution was necessary. The Prometheus was built as a shield, not a sword." "A shield," repeated the head speaker. "Yet you say 5 more such vessels are under construction." "6 shields are better than 1," Admiral Kim said, speaking for the first time. "Earth has many potential approaches." Ambassador Lee stepped forward from the Concordat side. "If I may address the council, I have spent the past month with these humans, learning their ways. Their technology is different because their thinking is different. They didn't follow our development patterns because they weren't aware of them." A ripple of murmurs passed through the chamber. "The real question," Lee continued, "is not why humans built such powerful ships, but what they intend to do with them." All eyes turned back to the human delegation. Kang met their gazes steadily. "Earth offers partnership, not dominance," he said simply. "We seek to join the galactic community as equals, bringing our unique perspectives and capabilities." The head speaker considered this. "And if the Concordat declines this partnership, then we return to Sol system and continue as we were," Kang replied without hesitation. "Earth has no territorial ambitions beyond our own space." This straightforward answer seemed to surprise many representatives. In galactic politics, threats and leverage were common diplomatic tools, but the humans offered neither. A new voice spoke up, a representative of the Eldari, one of the oldest species in the Concordat. "There is another matter to consider. The data recovered from the void vessels. The display changed to show star maps with ominous red expansion patterns. The Void Collective is moving more aggressively than we realized," the Eldari continued. "Their main fleet will reach Concordat space within a standard year. Our simulations show they would overwhelm our defenses." Silence fell over the chamber as the representatives absorbed this news. Admiral Kim studied the projections carefully. "These patterns suggest coordinated strikes at key junction points. They're targeting your supply lines and communication hubs." The Eldari representative looked at Kim with surprise. "You determined this from a brief viewing of our data?" "It's basic strategic theory," Kim replied. "Cut off communication and supply, then attack isolated targets." Kang cleared his throat. "The question seems clear. Does the Concordat face this threat alone, or with humanity as allies?" The head speaker called for a recess. For 2 hours, the various representatives debated among themselves while the human delegation waited patiently. When the session resumed, the mood had shifted noticeably. "We have reached a consensus," the head speaker announced. "The Galactic Concordat formally invites Earth to join our alliance as full members, with all rights and responsibilities that entails." Kang bowed slightly. "Earth accepts. There is one additional matter," the head speaker continued. "Given the threat we all face, we request that the TSS Prometheus and any completed sister ships be assigned to a joint defense force." Admiral Kim stepped forward. "The Prometheus was built to protect Earth. It will continue to do so, but Earth's safety now depends on the safety of our allies as well." As the formal proceedings concluded, Ambassador Lee approached the human delegation privately. "You should know," he said quietly, "there's an ancient prophecy among some Concordat species. It speaks of a hidden guardian that would emerge when darkness threatened to engulf the galaxy." Admiral Kim raised an eyebrow. "You believe that's us?" Lee's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, the equivalent of a smile. "I believe the Void Collective is about to face something they never expected." That evening, standing on the observation deck of the Concordat station, Kang, Kim, and Yoon watched distant stars shining against the blackness of space. A new dawn, Yoon mused, for Earth and the galaxy. Kin nodded. We built the Prometheus hoping we'd never need it. Now it serves a purpose greater than we imagined. Kang looked toward the starfield where Earth lay, too distant to see. Humanity stepped into the stars fearing what we might find. Instead, we found our place.